Hi, my name is Preston. Ben Franklin once said, "Nothing is certain except for death and taxes." And between those two, I think I'd rather just take death. And what better way to die than by playing Russian Roulette, a game of chance where the consequence of losing is never being able to play the game again. Or any other game. Ever. The rules are simple. A single round is placed into the chamber of a 6-round revolver. The cylinder is spun, and then players take turns putting the revolver against their head and pulling the trigger. Rinse and repeat until someone has a really bad day. Now, depending on the version of Russian Roulette that you're playing, you'll either spin the cylinder after each individual shot, or you'll keep pulling the trigger until eventually it fires. I'm not too interested in telling you the history of Russian Roulette, mainly because there's already a video by Today I Found Out that explains it way better than I ever could. To give you the quick version, the first use of the term seems to come from a 1937 short story titled Russian Roulette, written by a man named Georges Zudez. Here's a short excerpt from the story. "Did you ever hear of Russian Roulette?" When I said I had not, he told me all about it. When he was with the Russian army in Romania, around 1917, and things were cracking up, so that their officers felt that they were not only losing prestige, money, family, and country, but were being also dishonored before their colleagues of the Allied armies. Some officer would suddenly pull out his revolver, anywhere, at the table, in a cafe, at a gathering of friends, remove a cartridge from the cylinder, spin the cylinder, snap it back in place, put it to his head, and pull the trigger. There were 5 chances to 1 that the hammer would set off a live cartridge and blow his brains all over the place. If anyone needs a voice actor for a project, hit me up. So that's the origin of Russian Roulette, a ghastly game created by depressed soldiers who were losing the war. A game made for those that have nothing left to live for to feel one last twisted sense of excitement. So then why is it everywhere? If you clicked on this video, you probably already know what Russian Roulette is. But isn't that weird? This feels like the type of game you would see discussed on an old HTML-based blog post on the dark web, not something actively depicted in media all the time. Movies, TV shows, short films, video games, music, even Squid Game? If I had a nickel for every time that I referenced Squid Game in a video, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. So why does Russian Roulette seem to be everywhere? Well, I don't have a definitive answer, but I do have a few ideas for why. For one, it's not ever depicted as something that's good. When it's used in productions, especially on TV, it's normally to show how corrupt a person or a group of people is. Take the movie that seems to have introduced Russian Roulette to the general public, The Deer Hunter. In the movie, the characters Mike and Nick are forced to play Russian Roulette by their captors, the Viet Cong, who bet on who's going to die first. This scene in the movie has been praised for the incredible acting, with legendary filmmaker Quentin Tarantino saying that
the Russian Roulette sequence is just out and out one of the best pieces of film ever made, ever shot, ever edited, ever performed.
But it's not just prevalent on the big screen. In fact, I would argue it's even more common in short films. On the internet, individuals and small groups have a lot more creative freedom than big budget films who have advertisers and PR reps breathing down their neck. Also, even though these small groups have an even smaller budget, a fake revolver isn't going to put a huge dent in your wallet for something that can be used to create a really compelling scene in a short film. If you look up Russian Roulette on YouTube, you'll find several short films revolving around the theme of the game, which makes sense. The majority of people have enough sense to know that it's not only dangerous, but downright stupid to play the game. However, watching other people play the game allows for the suspense and thrill of the game without the danger aspect. I believe that filmmakers know this and use it to their advantage. We, as a society, find it hard to look away from a train wreck. From a bad movie all the way up to a car crash. We know it's awful to look at, but we can't bring ourselves to look away. Filmmakers use this to captivate their audience, and it works. That's why I think we see Russian Roulette more and more in different art forms. It's a low-budget idea with a high retention rate. Okay, that got way too technical for me. I've just always been fascinated with Russian Roulette because it's an insane idea. A game where the sole purpose is to see who dies first is already crazy enough, but the widespread popularity of it is something I never would have expected. If you like this video, please subscribe so that I can afford more realistic props. Alright, that's all that I got for now. Hope to see you all next week, and remember to take it easy.